I pull myself up the last few steps and the trapdoor slams shut beneath my feet. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely slide the iron bolt across. It's old, rusted, but it holds. For now. The bell tower is smaller than I expected, maybe 12 feet across, octagonal stone walls thick enough that I can barely hear the screaming from below anymore. Just muffled sounds, scraping. The occasional wet thud of bodies throwing themselves against the wooden door at the bottom of the spiral stairs. I'm sitting with my back against the wall now, trying to catch my breath. My lungs burn. There's blood on my jacket. Not mine, I don't think. And my right ankle throbs where I twisted it jumping over the cemetery wall. That feels like hours ago. It's been maybe 20 minutes. The backpack I grabbed from the parish office is next to me. I haven't looked inside yet. My phone is dead. The battery died while I was running, and I watched the screen go black as I sprinted across the parking lot with those things behind me. No way to call for help. No way to know if anyone else made it out. I force myself to stand. My legs are jelly, but I need to see what I'm working with here. 4 narrow windows, one on each cardinal direction, with stone arches that come to Gothic points. No glass, just open air and wrought iron bars set into the stone. The bars are decorative, curved in crosses and fleur-de-lis patterns. They wouldn't stop a person from climbing through if they could reach up here, but I'm maybe 80 feet up. The walls outside are smooth stone, no handholds. Above me, the bells. 2 massive bronze bells hanging from a wooden framework that looks original to the building, maybe 1880s, based on the architecture. I remember reading the historical marker outside when I came here for... No, don't think about that. Stay focused. The bells are silent now. There's a rope system, old hemp cords that run down through holes in the floor, connecting to the bell mechanisms, thick with dust. This tower hasn't been used properly in decades. St. Catherine's switched to recorded bells years ago, played through speakers. These are just relics. The floor is wooden planks, wide and warped with age. Pigeon droppings everywhere. Feathers. The smell is sharp and organic, bird waste mixed with old wood and stone dust. There's a wooden ladder propped against the wall that leads up to a hatch in the ceiling, the roof access. I climb up, push the hatch open. Wind hits my face. Cold November wind that cuts right through my jacket. The roof is peaked slate, slippery and angled too steep to stand on safely. A narrow widow's walk runs around the base of the spire, just a metal railing and a 2-foot wide ledge. The spire itself rises another 20 feet, topped with a copper cross turned green with verdigris. I can see everything from up here. The town spreads out below like a diorama. Oakfield, population 3,200, was 3,200. I can see Main Street, the post office, the elementary school, smoke rising from at least 3 buildings, cars abandoned in the middle of the road, doors hanging open. And people. Except they're not people anymore. They're everywhere. Dozens of them visible from here, maybe hundreds throughout the town. Some are wandering, that distinctive jerky shuffle. Others are still, just standing in place like broken animatronics. A few are clustered around something I can't quite see, probably feeding. I look away. The church grounds below are packed with them. They're shoulder to shoulder in the parking lot, pressed against the building. I count at least 40 just in the immediate area around the tower's base. Some are looking up. Their faces are tilted toward me, mouths open, and even from this height I can see the dark stains down their fronts. One of them used to be Father Marcus. I can tell by the black shirt and white collar, even though most of his throat is gone. I duck back down through the hatch and close it. My hands are shaking again. The backpack. I need to focus on what I have. I unzip it and spread everything out on the floor. 1 bottle of water, maybe 16 ounces. A bag of pretzels, the small kind you get from a vending machine. A flashlight. I press the button and get a weak yellow beam. Batteries are dying. There's a first aid kit, the basic kind with band-aids and gauze, a box of matches, a small notepad and a pen. That's it. This was supposed to be Father Marcus's emergency bag, kept in his office. Emergency supplies for what, a power outage? This wouldn't last me 3 days. I sit back down and force myself to think. Water is the priority. 1 bottle won't last long. I'm already thirsty from the running, my throat dry and scratchy. There's no water source up here, no plumbing to the bell tower, no storage tanks. When this runs out, I'm done. Food is next. The pretzels might be 200 calories if I'm lucky. After that, nothing. My stomach is already cramping, but I don't know if that's hunger or just fear. The first aid kit might matter if I'm hurt worse than I think. I check myself over more carefully. The blood on my jacket is definitely not mine. I remember grabbing Mrs. Chen's arm when she fell, before I realized she was already gone. My ankle is swollen, but not broken. Some scrapes on my palms from scrambling over the wall. Nothing major. I have light until the batteries die. I have fire with the matches, but nothing to burn except the wooden floor and ladder, and I'm not that desperate yet. The notepad and pen are useless unless I plan to write a goodbye letter. I'm in a stone tower 80 feet above ground, with less than a day's worth of supplies and no way down. I should have kept running. I should have made it to the highway, tried to flag down help. Something. But the infected were everywhere, pouring out of houses and stores, and the church was right there with its doors open. I ran inside because it was the closest shelter. I didn't think. I just ran. Now I'm trapped. The scraping sounds from below haven't stopped. They're at the door down there, the heavy oak door that leads into the bell tower stairwell. It's locked. I managed to lock it behind me before I started climbing, but I don't know how long it will hold. The door is old, but solid, medieval thick. The frame is stone, but there are so many of them down there, pressing, pushing. I crawl to the trapdoor and press my ear against it. The wood is thick, but I can hear them on the spiral stairs, moaning. That wet, gurgling sound they make, footsteps shuffling on stone, around and around the tight spiral. They're climbing. The trapdoor has the bolt, but it's the only thing between me and them. If they figure out they can break through the wood, or if the bolt gives way, I look around for something to reinforce it. The ladder. I drag it over, prop it at an angle across the trapdoor with one end wedged against the opposite wall. It's not much, but it's something. If they push up from below, the ladder will brace against the wall and hold the door shut. Probably. My watch says 3:47 p.m. It's November 14th, Thursday. I remember because I had a dentist appointment tomorrow that I was dreading. Funny what your brain holds on to. The sun is already low on the horizon, disappearing behind the hills to the west. It gets dark early this time of year. Maybe another hour of good light, then twilight, then nothing. The flashlight won't last the night. I need to set up some kind of camp, organize this space while I can still see. The corner farthest from the trapdoor seems safest. I push some of the pigeon debris away with my shoe and create a clear spot about 4 feet square. This is my area. I put the backpack here, arrange the supplies where I can find them in the dark. Water bottle, pretzels, first aid kit, matches, flashlight, notepad and pen. There's a lot of loose wood up here. Old planks, pieces of the bell mechanism that have broken off over the years, wooden shims and wedges. I gather what I can and stack it. Potential weapons maybe, potential fuel if I need a fire. A piece of iron chain, rusted but heavy. I set that aside too. The bells themselves are huge up close, bronze weathered to a dull green-brown, inscribed with Latin text I can't fully read in the fading light. Sancta Catharina Ora, pro nobis. Saint Catherine, pray for us. The clappers are suspended inside, heavy iron tongues that would ring the bells if pulled. The ropes disappear down through holes in the floor, probably all the way to the bottom of the tower. An idea starts forming. If I pull the ropes, the bells will ring. Loud. Very loud. That will draw every infected thing for miles. But they're already here, already surrounding the building. What difference would it make? Unless I could use it as a distraction. Ring the bells, draw them to one side, then what? Climb down the outside of the tower with no rope or harness? I'm not a climber. I'd fall and die, or fall and break both legs and die slower. No, the bells are a bad idea. Sound draws them. The less noise I make, the better. The sun is touching the hills now. Long shadows stretch across the town. I go to the north window and look out. There are fires burning in the distance, orange flames against the darkening sky. The strip mall past the highway is engulfed. I can see it from here, flames reaching up through the roof of the Walmart. No fire trucks coming, no sirens. Just fire spreading unchecked. Below, in the church parking lot, the infected are still milling around. But something has changed. They're not all pressed against the building anymore. Some have wandered off. There are maybe 20 now instead of 40. They're spreading out, following some instinct I don't understand. Searching for easier prey, maybe. One of them is wearing a pizza delivery uniform. Red shirt, black cap. He can't be more than 19. His face is grey and his jaw hangs at a broken angle, but he's still wearing his name tag. Tyler, in black letters. I watch him shuffle across the parking lot, arms hanging limp at his sides, following a woman in a blue dress who's missing her left arm below the elbow. I turn away from the window. The temperature is dropping. I can feel it already. November in Ohio means cold nights, and this tower is just stone and air. No insulation, no heating. The wind comes straight through those open windows. I'm going to freeze up here. My jacket is a light windbreaker, not winter gear. My jeans and sneakers won't help. I'm already shivering, and it's not even dark yet. I search the tower more thoroughly. There's nothing. No blankets, no tarps, no discarded maintenance equipment, just stone, wood, birds, and dust. The pigeons are long gone. They scattered when I slammed the hatch shut earlier, but their nests are built into the rafters. Sticks and feathers and trash. I climb the ladder and pull down an armful of nesting material. It's disgusting, but it's something. I pile it in my corner, shape it into a kind of mat. The feathers might provide some insulation if I burrow into them. This is my life now, sleeping in pigeon nests. Dark humour helps. I laugh once, a sharp bark that echoes off the stone walls, and then I stop because it sounds too much like crying. The light is almost gone. I turn on the flashlight and immediately regret it. The beam seems pathetically weak, and I need to conserve batteries. I turn it off and let my eyes adjust to the twilight. The tower fills with blue shadows. The bells are dark shapes overhead. The windows are slightly lighter squares showing the last glow of sunset. I can see the stars beginning to appear. Venus bright and low in the west. I remember my dad teaching me constellations when I was a kid. He'd take me out to the backyard on clear nights with his telescope, and we'd find Orion, Cassiopeia, the Big Dipper. He died 6 years ago, heart attack at 58. I'm glad he's not here to see this. My mum moved to Arizona 3 years ago to be near my sister. I hope they're okay. I hope Arizona is far enough away from whatever this is. I don't know what this is. The news was confused before the TV stopped working. Reports of violence, riots, some kind of rabies outbreak. Martial law declared. Then the power went out around noon and my phone lost signal. I was at home, debating whether to try to drive out of town, when I heard the screaming from the neighbour's house. Mr. Patterson came out of his front door covered in blood, just walked out, looked around, and then saw Mrs. Patterson stumbling after him with her throat torn open. I watched from my kitchen window as it, caught him, and they both fell into the driveway. I couldn't look away. I should have looked away. When they both stood up a few minutes later, I knew it was time to run. I grabbed my keys and the backpack from the hall closet, not Father Marcus's bag, that came later, and I ran for my car. But the street was full of them by then. They came out of houses, from behind cars, from the park at the end of the street. I ran the other direction toward Main Street, thinking there would be police or National Guard, or someone. There was nobody, just more of them. I ended up in the church because I was out of options. The doors were open. Father Marcus must have unlocked them, maybe trying to offer sanctuary, and I ran inside. The nave was empty. I could hear sounds from the administrative wing, crashing and screaming. I didn't investigate. I saw the door to the bell tower stairwell and I took it, locked it behind me, started climbing. That was 3 hours ago, maybe 4. It feels like days. The tower is fully dark now. I can't see my hand in front of my face. The sounds from below have quieted. The infected are still there. I can hear occasional scraping, a thud, a moan. But the constant noise has stopped. Maybe they sleep. Do they sleep? I don't know. Nobody knows. This is day 1 of the end of the world, and there's no manual. I'm so thirsty. I allow myself 3 small sips from the water bottle. The water is warm and plasticky, but it soothes my throat. I cap the bottle carefully and put it back in the exact spot where I can find it in the dark. I'm not eating the pretzels tonight. I need to make them last. Hunger is just discomfort. I can handle discomfort. The cold is worse. I'm shivering steadily now, my teeth chattering. I burrow into the pile of nesting material and pull my knees to my chest. The feathers help a little. My body heat gets trapped in the layers. It's still miserable, but it's better than sitting on bare stone. I try not to think about bed. My bed at home with the memory foam mattress and the electric blanket and the down comforter. My warm bed that I will probably never see again. Stop it. Don't spiral. I focus on my breathing, in through the nose, out through the mouth, slow and steady. This is a survival situation. I've read about survival situations. People last weeks without food, days without water. The human body is resilient. I can do this. I just need to make it until morning. Then I can reassess. Maybe help will come. Maybe the military will clear the area. Maybe this is just a local outbreak and the rest of the country is fine and rescue is already on the way. Maybe. The stars are brilliant through the windows. The Milky Way is visible, a cloudy band across the sky. Without the light pollution from town, the streetlights are all out. The houses are dark except for fires. The stars are brighter than I've ever seen them. It's beautiful in a terrible way. I close my eyes and try to sleep. The cold wakes me, or maybe the sounds. I don't know what time it is. My watch face is too dim to read without the flashlight. The stars have moved. Orion is higher in the sky, so it's been a few hours at least. Maybe 10 p.m., maybe midnight. The sounds from below are louder, not the shuffling and moaning. Something else. Rhythmic thuds, banging. They're hitting the door at the bottom of the stairs, over and over. A steady beat like a drum. Boom, boom, boom. I sit up, instantly alert, my heart hammering. They're trying to break through. Boom, boom, boom. The sound echoes up the stairwell and through the trapdoor. It's not panicked or random, it's methodical. They're taking turns, I think, throwing their bodies against the door, testing it. I crawl to the trapdoor and press my ear against the wood. The banging is clearer here, and there are voices, not words, just sounds, but they're coordinating somehow. A moan rises from multiple throats at once, then the boom as they hit the door together. They're learning. The door will hold. It has to hold. It's thick oak banded with iron set in a stone frame, medieval craftsmanship, built to last centuries, but the frame might not be as strong as the door, and the hinges are on the inside of the tower, my side, which means they're pulling instead of pushing. If they pull hard enough, the hinges could tear out of the old wood. Boom, boom, boom. I need to think. I need to prepare for the possibility that they get through. The ladder across the trapdoor might not be enough. I search for more weight, more bracing. There's not much. I drag over some of the heavier pieces of wood and stack them on top of the trapdoor. It's not much, maybe 50 pounds total, but it's something. The chain. I could wrap the chain around... what? There's nothing to anchor it to. The bell framework is wooden, and I don't trust it to hold against that kind of force. The walls are smooth stone with no fixtures or rings. I'm breathing too fast, hyperventilating. I force myself to slow down. The banging continues. Boom, boom, boom. I go to the west window and look down. The parking lot is fuller now than it was at dusk. They've come back, drawn by the noise maybe, or just returning to where they last knew prey existed. I count at least 60. More are shambling in from the street. This is bad. I climb up to the roof hatch and look out. The night air is shockingly cold. My breath fogs in front of my face. The widow's walk is slick with frost. Could I hide up here? If they break through the trapdoor, could I climb out onto the roof and wait them out? I'd freeze to death. It's below freezing already, and I'm shivering in my thin jacket even with the nesting material. Exposed to the wind up here, I wouldn't last until morning. And there's nowhere to go. The roof is too steep and slippery. The widow's walk is a dead end. The spire is unclimbable, just smooth copper sheets over a wooden frame. I'm trapped, truly trapped. The realization hits me like cold water. There is no escape from this tower, not up, not down. This is where I am until I die of thirst or starvation, or they break through and kill me. Boom, boom, boom. The sound is relentless. I climb back down and huddle in my corner. I'm shaking, but it's not just from the cold anymore. I want to cry. I want to scream. I want to wake up and discover this is a nightmare. Instead, I pull my knees to my chest and wait. The banging continues for hours. Sometimes it slows, becomes sporadic. Then it picks up again with renewed energy. They don't get tired. They don't give up. They just keep hitting the door. At some point, I must fall asleep because I wake with a start to grey pre-dawn light filtering through the windows. The banging has stopped. I'm so cold I can barely move. My fingers are numb. My face feels frozen. I flex my hands slowly, painfully, until feeling returns with pins and needles. My whole body aches from shivering. The tower is silent except for the wind whistling through the windows. I crawl to the trapdoor and listen. Nothing. No sounds from below. I wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Still nothing. Carefully, I move the wood pile and lift the ladder away. I slide back the bolt and raise the trapdoor a crack. The stairwell below is empty. Dim morning light filters up from somewhere. Maybe the door broke and morning sun is coming through. But I don't see any infected on the stairs. I open the trapdoor wider and shine the flashlight down. The batteries are nearly dead, but the weak beam shows me stone steps spiraling down and down. Empty. Where did they go? I close the trapdoor and bolt it again. This could be a trap. They could be waiting just out of sight. Or they gave up, lost interest, wandered off to hunt elsewhere. I go to the windows and look out. The parking lot is mostly empty now. Only 5 or 6 infected remain, standing still like statues. The rest have dispersed into town. This is good. This gives me options. If most of them are gone, maybe I could make a run for it. Find a better shelter, find supplies, or maybe they'll come back as soon as I open that door. I sit down and take 3 sips of water. The bottle is half empty now. I eat 1 pretzel, chewing it slowly to make it last. The salt makes me thirstier, but I need the calories. The sun rises over the eastern hills, golden light flooding across the town. Smoke still rises from multiple locations. I can see bodies in the street now, visible in the daylight. Dark shapes that don't move. The truly dead, not the infected, dozens of them. I spend the morning watching. That's all I can do. Watch and wait and try to understand the patterns. The infected that remain in the parking lot don't move much. They stand in place, swaying slightly, heads tilted at odd angles. One of them is a woman in a business suit, her blonde hair matted with dried blood. She hasn't moved in over an hour, just standing there, facing the street, like she's waiting for a bus that will never come. Around 9 a.m., I'm guessing based on the sun's position, more of them start returning. They come from different directions, shambling back toward the church in ones and twos. Within an hour, the parking lot is crowded again. 20, 30, 40 of them. They cluster near the building, near the tower base, like they remember I'm up here even if they can't see me anymore. I stay back from the windows. I don't want to give them a target to focus on. The temperature rises as the sun climbs higher. It's still cold, but bearable. Maybe 45 degrees. I'm not shivering anymore at least. I spread out the nesting material to dry. It got damp overnight from my breath and body heat. The tower smells like wet bird and old stone and my own sweat. I need to pee. This is a problem I didn't fully consider last night. There's no bathroom up here, obviously. I use the corner farthest from my sleeping area, turning away from the windows in case any of them can somehow see up here. It's humiliating, but necessary. The urine soaks into the old wooden floor, and the smell joins all the other smells. I'll have to live with it. By noon, I've eaten 3 more pretzels. The bag is more than half empty. My stomach cramps with hunger, but I force myself to stop. I take 2 sips of water. The bottle is getting light, maybe a quarter full now. I'm rationing, but the math is simple and terrifying. 2 days of water at most. 3 days of food if I really stretch it. Then nothing. I need to find more supplies or I need to get out of here. Those are the only options. I spend the afternoon exploring every inch of the tower. I've already searched it once, but desperation makes me thorough. I run my hands along the walls, feeling for hidden alcoves or storage spaces. Nothing. I examine the bell framework more carefully, looking for any supplies that maintenance workers might have left. Nothing but dust and bird nests. The bells themselves are huge. The larger one is maybe 4 feet tall, the smaller one 3 feet. Both are suspended from an oak beam that's supported by the stone walls. The rope system is ingenious, complex pulleys and counterweights that would let one person ring both bells with a coordinated pattern. The ropes are old hemp, thick as my wrist, crusted with decades of dust and pigeon droppings. I tug on one experimentally. The bell shifts slightly, the clapper swinging just enough to tap the bronze with a soft ting. I freeze, waiting to see if the infected below react. After a minute, nothing has changed. They didn't hear it or didn't care. The ropes extend down through holes in the floor, following the spiral stairs all the way to the ground level, where there would have been a ringing chamber. Anyone pulling the ropes from down there could ring the bells without climbing all the way up here. An idea occurs to me. Not a good idea, but an idea. If I cut one of the ropes and dropped it out the window, it would be, 80 feet? Close to it? Long enough to reach the ground, or near enough. I could tie it to the bell framework, climb down the outside of the tower. Except, I have nothing to cut the rope with. The matches won't burn through hemp this thick. I have no knife, no blade of any kind. And even if I could cut it, could I climb down 80 feet of rope? I'm not strong. I never exercise much. My arms would give out halfway down, and I'd fall and die still. I should keep it in mind. If I get desperate enough, if I'm dying of thirst anyway, maybe it's worth the risk. I examine the first aid kit more carefully. Band-aids, gauze pads, medical tape, a small tube of antibiotic ointment, a few alcohol wipes, and, yes, a tiny pair of scissors. They're barely 2 inches long, designed for cutting tape or trimming bandages. The blades are thin and dull. Could I cut through the rope with these? I press the scissors against the hemp and try to snip. The rope is too thick and the scissors too weak. I can barely make a dent in the outer fibres. It would take hours, maybe days of sawing to cut through even one strand. But it's possible, theoretically possible. I put the scissors back in the first aid kit and file this information away. Not yet, but maybe. The afternoon drags on. I'm so bored I could scream. There's nothing to do except watch the infected mill around below and count the minutes until dark. I try to sleep, but I'm not tired enough. My body is confused, exhausted, but wired with adrenaline, desperate for rest, but unable to relax. I think about my apartment, my books and laptop and TV, my job at the insurance company, boring as it was, my co-workers, happy hour on Fridays at the pub down the street, trivia night on Tuesdays, my regular order at the Chinese place, kung pao chicken, extra spicy, fried rice, all of it gone, erased. The world ended and I'm in a bell tower eating stale pretzels and pissing in the corner. How did this happen? That's the question I keep coming back to. The news reports were too confused to make sense of. Some said it was a virus, some said biological weapon, some said it was divine judgment. The internet was full of conspiracy theories before it went down. Now there's no way to know. Does it matter? The cause doesn't change the result. The dead are walking and everyone I know is probably dead or worse. I force myself to stop thinking about it. Spiraling into existential dread won't help me survive. As the sun gets lower, I prepare for another night. I gather the nesting material back into a pile. I move the water bottle and food where I can find them in the dark. I check the trapdoor, still bolted, still braced with the ladder and wood. I put on both my jacket and my hoodie from the backpack, layering for warmth. The temperature is already dropping. It's going to be another cold night. The infected start banging on the door again around 8 p.m. Same pattern as last night. Boom, boom, boom. Rhythmic and steady. I try to ignore it, but the sound is relentless. It echoes up through the tower and pounds inside my skull until I want to scream at them to stop. I don't scream. That would just excite them more. Instead, I sit in my corner with my hands over my ears and try to think about anything else. I recite poetry I memorized in high school. I run through the lyrics of every song I can remember. I count backwards from 1,000. The banging continues. Around midnight, I think it's midnight. The stars suggest it's midnight. The banging stops, just like last night. Complete silence except for the wind. I'm so tired, cold and hungry and tired to my bones. I burrow into the feathers and close my eyes. Sleep comes eventually. Day 3 starts the same as day 2. Grey dawn, frozen fingers, empty parking lot. But something is different. The morning is quieter. When I look out the windows, I count only 3 infected in the immediate area. The rest have gone somewhere else. This is my chance. If I'm going to try to escape, it has to be now. I spend an hour making a plan. The door at the bottom of the stairs is either broken or unlocked. It has to be, or else how are the infected getting in to bang on it? If I can make it down the stairs and out that door before the others return, I might be able to run for it. Find a car with keys still in it. Drive out of town. Find help. It's a terrible plan with a dozen ways to fail, but staying here is certain death. At least this gives me a chance. I drink the last of the water, all of it. If I'm running, I need hydration. I eat the remaining pretzels, 4 small twisted pieces that taste like cardboard and salt. Not enough, not nearly enough, but it's all I have. I put the first aid kit and the matches in my jacket pockets. I leave the flashlight. The batteries are dead anyway. I leave the notepad and pen. I keep the chain wrapped around my hand like a flail. It's a weapon, sort of. Better than nothing. I'm ready, or as ready as I'll ever be. I move the wood pile and the ladder away from the trapdoor. I slide back the bolt. I lift the door slowly, quietly, and peer down into the stairwell. Empty. The spiral stairs descend into shadow. I can see the bottom. The door is hanging open, broken off its hinges. Morning light spills through, illuminating the narrow passage. This is it. I lower myself through the trapdoor, my feet finding the stone steps. My ankle protests. It's still swollen from 2 days ago, but it holds my weight. I start descending, moving as quietly as possible, keeping to the outer edge of the spiral where the steps are widest. The stairwell is tight, barely wide enough for my shoulders. The walls are rough stone, cold and damp. The steps are worn smooth in the center from centuries of feet climbing up and down. I count them as I go. 10 steps, 20, 30. At 40 steps I hear something below, a shuffle, a wet breathing sound. I freeze. There's one in the stairwell, at least one. Somewhere below me, in the shadows. I hold my breath and listen. The sound comes again, definitely below me. Maybe 20 feet down, around the next curve of the spiral. I could go back up, retreat to the tower, wait for it to leave, or I could try to get past it. If it's just one, maybe I can fight it. Use the chain, bash its head in. I've seen enough zombie movies to know the rules. Destroy the brain. Except this isn't a movie, this is real. That thing down there used to be a person. It's strong and it doesn't feel pain, and if I get close enough to hit it with a chain, I'm close enough for it to grab me. I'm shaking again, fear or cold, or both. I take one careful step down, then another. The stone is silent under my sneakers. I'm at the next curve now, and I can see it. Father Marcus, or what used to be Father Marcus. He's sitting on the steps, his back against the wall, his head tilted at an impossible angle. His throat is gone, just a ragged hole crusted with black blood. His eyes are open, but filmy, like cataracts. His hands rest on his knees, fingers twitching slightly. He's blocking the stairs. There's no way past him in this narrow space. As I watch, his head rotates toward me. Not a smooth motion, jerky, bird-like. His mouth opens and that wet moan comes out, bubbling through the ruin of his throat. He sees me. He lurches to his feet with that horrible fluid movement they have. All wrong, joints bending at bad angles. He starts climbing toward me, arms reaching, mouth opening wider. I run, back up the stairs, taking them 2 at a time, my ankles screaming in protest. I hear him behind me, closer than he should be. Those wet sounds and the scrape of his shoes on stone. I burst through the trapdoor and spin around to slam it shut. His hand shoots through the gap, grey fingers, fingernails black, reaching for me. I grab the ladder and shove it down hard on his arm. The wood crunches against flesh and bone, but he doesn't pull back, just keeps reaching, trying to grab my leg. I bring the chain down on his wrist, once, twice, 3 times. The skin splits open, but there's no blood, just dark fluid that oozes out. On the 4th hit, something breaks, bone or tendon, and the hand goes limp. I kick the arm back through and slam the trapdoor shut, bolt it, brace it with the ladder. From below, I hear him moaning, scratching at the wood. He's right there, just inches away on the other side of the door. I back away and collapse in my corner. My chest is heaving. My ankle is on fire. The chain is still wrapped around my hand, slick with that dark fluid. So much for escape. I'm trapped, really, truly trapped. There's no way down. Father Marcus is in the stairwell, and probably more of them will come. The door at the bottom is broken open. They can come and go freely now. They can pack the stairs full and just wait for me to die of thirst. I want to cry, but I'm too dehydrated. My eyes burn, but no tears come. I sit there for a long time, breathing, trying to calm down. The scratching continues below, consistent, patient, eternal. Eventually I force myself to move. I need to reinforce the trapdoor, make it stronger, keep him out. I pile everything I can on top of it, all the wood, the chain, pieces of the bell framework that I managed to break off. I create a mound of debris 3 feet high over the door. It's not elegant, but it's heavy. He won't be able to push through. Probably. The rest of the day is a blur. I'm too defeated to do anything but sit and stare at the walls. Hunger is a constant ache now. Thirst is worse. My mouth feels full of cotton, my tongue thick and swollen. I haven't had water in hours and my body is screaming for it. I think about drinking my own urine. I've read that you can do that in survival situations, but I can't bring myself to try. Not yet. Maybe tomorrow, if I'm more desperate. The sunset is red and angry, painting the tower walls crimson. I watch it through the west window and feel nothing. Just numbness. Acceptance of death maybe. Night falls. The scratching below continues. All night. Father Marcus never sleeps, never stops, never gives up. Just scratches and moans and waits. I don't sleep either. I'm too thirsty, too cold, too aware that I'm dying. Dawn comes grey and bleak. Day 4, or is it 5? I've lost track. Time is meaningless now. I'm lightheaded, dizzy when I try to stand. Dehydration is setting in. I read once that you can survive 3 days without water. Maybe 4 if you're lucky. I'm past that now, or close to it. I need water, the rain. If it rains, I could collect water somehow. Use the notepad paper to channel it into my mouth, but the sky is cloudless, just pale blues stretching forever. Wait, the bells? Bronze is metal. Metal collects condensation. In the early morning, when the temperature difference is greatest, there should be moisture on the bells. I climb the ladder and examine the larger bell. The surface is damp, not dripping, just a thin film of moisture. I run my finger along the bronze and lick it. The water tastes like metal and bird droppings, but it's water. I do it again and again, running my hands over every inch of the bell I can reach, licking the moisture from my palms. It's not much, maybe a tablespoon total, but it's something. It's enough to keep me alive one more day. I do the same with the smaller bell, another tablespoon. My mouth feels less like desert sand. The dizziness recedes slightly. This can work. Every morning, collect the condensation. It won't be much, but it might be enough. Barely enough, unless the weather changes, unless it gets warmer and the condensation stops, unless 100 other things go wrong. But for now, for today, I have water. The scratching below continues. Father Marcus is relentless. I wonder if any part of him is still in there, still conscious, aware of what he's become, or if it's just infection and instinct, the virus puppeting his corpse. I hope it's the latter. I hope he's not trapped inside his own body, screaming. I spend the day in a haze, weak and hungry and so tired I can barely think. I doze off and on, never quite sleeping, never quite awake. My dreams are confused. I'm back in my apartment, but the walls are stone. I'm at work, but everyone is dead. I'm in the bell tower, but my dad is here teaching me about stars. When I wake, it's afternoon. The sun is low. I've lost hours. I'm so hungry. My stomach has moved past cramping into just a hollow ache. I'm burning through my body's reserves, fat first, then muscle. How long can a person survive without food? Weeks, supposedly. But I'm already weak. Already compromised by cold and stress and dehydration. I don't have weeks. I need food. The pigeons. There used to be pigeons living in this tower. I haven't seen any since the first day when they all scattered. But they might come back. If I could catch one, kill it, I could eat it. Raw, probably. I don't have a way to cook it without setting the tower on fire. But meat is meat. Protein. Calories. The thought disgusts me, but desperation is winning over squeamishness. I watch the windows as evening approaches. The pigeons roost at sunset. They come back to familiar places. If they're going to return, it will be soon. The sky turns orange and purple, stars begin appearing, and there, movement at the north window, a flutter of wings, a pigeon lands on the stone sill, grey and white, fat and stupid. I stay perfectly still. The bird hops inside onto the floor, pecking at something. It's only 6 feet away. I have one chance. If I miss, it will fly away and never come back. I wait until it's focused on pecking. Then I lunge. My hands close around its body and it explodes into panicked flapping, wings beating against my face, claws scratching my arms. I squeeze. It's surprisingly strong, surprisingly warm. I can feel its heart racing against my palms. I squeeze harder. I have to kill it quickly before it gets away. I twist its neck like I've seen in movies. Something crunches. The bird goes limp. I'm shaking. I just killed something. This small, warm, innocent thing. I know it's necessary, but guilt washes over me anyway. I sit down with the dead pigeon in my lap. Now what? I've never prepared game before, never cleaned an animal. I have no knife, no tools, except the tiny scissors from the first aid kit. I use my fingers. I tear at the feathers, pulling them out in clumps. The skin underneath is pale and pimpled. I rip the skin open. It's tougher than I expected, and reach inside. The body is hot and wet. I pull out organs I can't identify. The smell is overwhelming, raw and organic. This is barbaric. I'm sitting in a bell tower tearing apart a pigeon with my bare hands. But I'm so hungry. I bite into the breast meat. It's tough and gamey and tastes like blood, but I chew and swallow. Then another bite and another. I eat until there's nothing left but bones and feathers and organs. It's not enough. One pigeon is maybe 200 calories. My body needs 2,000 a day, more because I'm cold and stressed. But it's something. I wipe my bloody hands on my jeans. I can't believe I just did that. But I'm alive, still alive, for one more day. Night falls and the scratching continues below. I curl up in my nest of feathers, pigeon feathers now mixed with my kill's feathers, and try to sleep. Tomorrow I'll collect condensation again. Tomorrow I'll try to catch another pigeon. Tomorrow I'll survive one more day. That's all I can do, one day at a time. Days blur together. I lose count. A week, maybe more. Time stops meaning anything when every day is identical. Wake cold and stiff, lick moisture from the bells, watch for pigeons, listen to Father Marcus scratching below, sleep fitfully, repeat. I've caught 3 more pigeons. Not enough, never enough. I'm losing weight rapidly. My jeans hang loose on my hips. My ribs are visible when I look down at my chest. My face in the reflection of the bronze bells is gaunt, eyes sunken, skin pale. I'm dying slowly. The infected below have thinned out again. Only a handful remain in the parking lot most days. The rest have dispersed through town, hunting for easier prey. From my windows, I can see them wandering the streets, going in and out of buildings, following some pattern I can't discern. The fires have mostly burned out. Just a few still smoulder in the distance. The smoke has cleared enough that I can see farther. The highway to the south is clogged with abandoned cars. The strip mall is a blackened ruin. The elementary school's flag still flies, faded and torn, from a pole in front of the building. No helicopters, no military vehicles, no rescue. I'm alone. The psychological toll is almost worse than the physical. I talk to myself constantly now just to hear a human voice. I have conversations with people who aren't here. I tell my dad about the stars I can see at night. I describe the sunrise to my mum. I argue with Father Marcus through the trapdoor, yelling at him to leave, to give up, to just let me die in peace. He never answers, just keeps scratching. I'm going insane, slowly, degree by degree. I know I'm going insane, but I can't stop it. Isolation does this to people. I remember reading about solitary confinement, how prisoners lose their grip on reality after weeks or months alone. I'm living it now. One morning I wake up and can't remember my own name. Not for several terrifying minutes. It comes back eventually. David, I'm David, David Chen, 32 years old, insurance adjuster. But the lapse scares me more than anything else so far. I'm losing myself. To combat it, I start writing. The notepad and pen are still here. I write down everything I can remember. My address, my phone number, my mother's birthday, the name of my first grade teacher, the plot of my favourite book. Anything to anchor myself to who I was before. The writing helps. Having a task, a purpose. I fill page after page with memories and observations. I write about the infected below, trying to understand them. I write about the pigeons and the bells and the cold. I write letters to people who are probably dead. Dear Mum, I write, I'm alive. I'm in the bell tower of St. Catherine's Church. I hope you made it out. I hope Arizona was far enough away. I hope you and Karen are together and safe. I miss you. Love, David. I'll never send it. There's no mail service anymore. But writing it makes me feel less alone. The weather changes. It gets colder. One morning I wake to snow falling through the open windows, dusting the floor with white. Winter is coming, and I have no way to heat the tower. This is it. This is how I die. Not from the infected, not from hunger, but from hypothermia. I'll fall asleep one night and just not wake up. Frozen solid in my nest of feathers. The thought is almost peaceful. At least it will be over. But I'm not ready to give up yet. Some stubborn part of me refuses to quit. I gather more nesting material, create a better shelter in the corner. I do jumping jacks and push-ups, as many as my weakened body can manage, to generate heat. I wrap the chain around my torso under my clothes, the metal holding some body heat. I survive another night, and another. The snow stops, but the cold remains. I can see my breath constantly now. Frost forms on the inside of the windows. The condensation on the bells is sometimes frozen. I have to wait for my body heat to melt it before I can lick it off. I catch another pigeon, then another. I'm getting better at it, more patient, more practiced. The kills are quicker now, more efficient. I've stopped feeling guilty about it. They're food, that's all. Survival erases morality. I use the tiny scissors to cut small strips of flesh that I drape over the bell ropes to dry. Pigeon jerky. It's disgusting, but it lasts longer than fresh meat. I ration it carefully, eating just enough to keep my body functioning. This is my life now. This is what I've become. A scavenger in a stone tower, killing birds with my hands, licking dew from bells. Talking to myself while a corpse scratches at the door below. Time continues its crawl forward. I mark the days on the wall with a piece of charcoal from a burned match. 23 marks. Almost a month. Has it really been that long? It feels like years. It feels like forever. My body has adapted in strange ways. The hunger is constant, but I've learned to ignore it. My hands are covered in calluses and scratches from catching pigeons and prying apart their bodies. My ankle healed, mostly, though it still aches when the temperature drops. My beard has grown wild and matted. I smell terrible, sweat and bird blood and waste and decay. I am becoming something other than human, but I'm alive. The scratching below stopped 3 days ago, just stopped. I don't know if Father Marcus gave up, wandered away, or simply wore his fingers down to nubs. The silence is unsettling. I've grown accustomed to the sound, used it as a constant reminder to stay alert. Without it, the tower feels too quiet. I risk opening the trapdoor a crack and peering down. The stairwell is empty. No Father Marcus, no infected at all, just shadows and stone and that broken door at the bottom, letting in grey winter light. This is my chance. Again. Another opportunity to try to escape. But I'm so weak now. I don't know if I could make it down the stairs without collapsing. And even if I reached the bottom, even if I made it outside, then what? Run on legs that can barely hold my weight? Fight off infected with arms that shake from hunger? I'd die out there. At least in the tower I have shelter, water, a few pigeons. It's not much, but it's something. I close the trapdoor and bolt it again. Maybe later. Maybe when I'm stronger. Maybe never. One morning I wake to voices. Human voices. I think I'm hallucinating at first. It wouldn't be the first time, but the voices continue, clear and real, floating up from outside. I scramble to the north window and look down. There are people in the parking lot. Living people. 5 of them. 3 men and 2 women. All armed with rifles and baseball bats. They're wearing heavy winter gear, backpacks, moving in a tight formation. Survivors. I want to scream for help, but terror stops me. What if they're not friendly? What if they see me as competition for resources? What if they decide I'm infected? I watch as they approach the church. One of them, a tall man with a red beard, tries the door. It's locked. They confer briefly, then start to move around the building, checking other entrances. They're going to leave. They'll search the church, find nothing useful, and leave. They'll never know I'm up here. I have to risk it. Help! My voice cracks from disuse. It comes out as barely more than a whisper. I try again. Help! Up here. They don't hear me. They're too far away, the wind carrying my voice in the wrong direction. I grab the chain and start banging it against the bell. The sound rings out across the parking lot, clear and loud. The people freeze. They look around, searching for the source. One of them points up. At me. I wave frantically. I'm alive. I'm up here. Please. They see me. Redbeard says something to the others. They start moving toward the tower entrance. Hope surges through me, so intense it's painful. Rescue. After all this time, I'm going to be rescued. I rush to the trapdoor and start pulling away the debris pile. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely grip the wood. I yank the ladder aside, slide back the bolt, throw open the door. The stairwell is still empty. I can hear them below now, voices echoing up the stone shaft. Top of the tower. Careful, could be a trap. Infected inside. I start down the stairs, moving as fast as I dare. My legs are weak and unsteady. I have to grip the wall for support. I'm coming down, I shout. My voice echoes strangely. I'm not infected. I've been trapped up here. Stay where you are. A woman's voice, authoritative. We're coming to you. I stop on the stairs and wait. My heart is pounding so hard I feel dizzy. After a minute, I see them. Redbeard in the lead, rifle raised, flashlight beam cutting through the shadows. Behind him the others, weapons ready, tense and alert. Redbeard sees me and stops. We stare at each other for a long moment. I must look horrific, skeletal, filthy, wild-eyed, covered in dried blood and bird feathers. Please, I manage, I need help. He lowers the rifle slightly. How long have you been up here? A month, maybe more. I lost count. You're alone? Yes. Any bites? Any scratches from them? No, nothing. I've been trapped in the bell tower since the first day. He studies me carefully, looking for signs of infection. Finally, he nods. Okay, let's get you out of here. They help me down the stairs. My legs give out halfway, and Redbeard has to carry me, slinging me over his shoulder like a child. I'm so light now that it's probably easy for him. We emerge into the nave of the church. Grey winter light streams through the high windows. The pews are covered in debris and dried blood. There are bodies here, really dead bodies, not infected, decomposing in the aisles. The smell is overwhelming. Outside, the air is cold and clean, and I gulp it down like water. The parking lot is empty, except for their vehicle, a pickup truck with steel bars welded over the windows. They load me into the truck bed, wrapping me in blankets. One of the women, short dark hair, kind eyes, offers me a water bottle. I drink too fast and immediately vomit it back up. She patiently helps me try again, slower this time, small sips. My stomach screams with joy. There's a settlement, Redbeard tells me as they start the truck. About 40 miles north, walled compound, maybe 200 people. We've got food, shelter, medicine. You'll be okay. I nod, unable to speak. Tears are streaming down my face. I'm not sure if they're from relief or grief or just exhaustion. As we pull out of the parking lot, I look back at the church. The bell tower rises against the grey sky, gothic and sombre. My prison for a month, my salvation and my hell. I survived. Against every odd, against logic and hope, I survived. The truck drives north and I let myself cry, wrapped in blankets, surrounded by strangers who saved my life. The infected town disappears behind us. The future is uncertain, but right now, in this moment, I'm alive, and that's enough. But as we drive, I can't shake a feeling in my gut. Something wrong. The other survivors are too quiet. They keep glancing at each other, expressions I can't read. Redbeard looks at me in the rearview mirror. That tower, he says. You really spent a month alone up there? Yes. Must have been tough. How'd you manage water? Condensation on the bells, and rain a few times. Food? Pigeons. I caught pigeons. He nods slowly. The woman next to him, blonde, older, hard-faced, says something too quiet for me to hear. Redbeard responds and I catch only fragments. If he's lying, can't risk. Check him first. My relief starts to curdle into unease. What's wrong? Redbeard meets my eyes in the mirror. Nothing, just being careful. We've been burned before. Burned how? People who seemed fine, who swore they weren't infected, then turned in the middle of the night and killed 3 people before we could stop them. I'm not infected. I told you. You told us. But we need to be sure. There's a quarantine procedure at the settlement. 2 weeks isolated, daily health checks, blood tests if we can manage them. Standard for everyone new. You understand? I understand. But something about the way they're looking at me makes my skin crawl. We drive for an hour. The landscape is dead. Abandoned farms, empty houses, burned vehicles, no living people. A few infected wandering in the distance, but we avoid them easily. Finally, we turn onto a dirt road that leads into the woods. After a mile, the trees open up to reveal a compound. Chain-link fence topped with barbed wire, reinforced gates, guard towers at each corner. Inside, I can see buildings, houses, barns, what looks like a community centre. The gates open and we drive through. People come out to watch. Hard-faced survivors in winter coats, many armed. Children too. Which surprises me. I thought all the children would be dead by now. We stop in front of a small concrete building near the edge of the compound. Redbeard helps me out of the truck. This is the quarantine facility, he says. It's not comfortable, but it's safe. 2 weeks. If you're clean, you can join the community. He walks me inside. The building is a single room with concrete walls and floor. A cot in the corner, a chemical toilet, a space heater. One small window with bars. The door is heavy steel with a viewing slot. We'll bring you food and water 3 times a day, Redbeard says. There's a bell by the door. If you need anything urgent, ring it. Otherwise, just rest, recover. We'll check on you regularly. Okay, I say. My voice sounds hollow. He leaves. The steel door closes with a heavy clang. I hear the lock engage. I'm trapped again. Different tower, different prison, but trapped all the same. I sit on the cot and laugh. The sound echoes off the concrete walls, slightly manic. After everything, after surviving the bell tower, the cold, the hunger, the isolation, I'm locked in another cell. But this one has a space heater, and the promise of food, and people on the other side of the door. It's not the same. it's not. I lie down on the cot and close my eyes. My body is screaming for real sleep, deep sleep, safe sleep. For the first time in a month, I don't have to worry about infected breaking through a door. Don't have to listen for sounds in the dark. Don't have to wake every hour shivering and terrified. I sleep. When I wake, it's dark outside. Someone has brought food, a bowl of stew, a hunk of bread, more water. The food is still warm. I eat slowly, carefully, knowing my stomach can't handle much after so long with so little. The stew is venison and vegetables, seasoned with herbs. It's the best thing I've ever tasted. I want to inhale it, but I force myself to eat tiny spoonfuls, chewing thoroughly, waiting between bites. By the time I finish the bowl, my stomach feels swollen and uncomfortable, but satisfied in a way I'd forgotten was possible. I drink water. Actual clean water, not condensation or melted snow. I drink until I can't hold anymore. Then I sleep again. Days pass in the quarantine cell. They bring me food 3 times a day. Good food, real meals. My body starts to recover. I gain weight. My strength returns gradually. The guard who delivers my meals, a middle-aged woman named Carol, is friendly enough. She asks me questions through the door slot. Where was I from? What did I do before? How did I survive? I tell her about the bell tower. She listens with a mix of horror and fascination. You're tougher than you look, she says after one of my stories. Most people wouldn't have lasted a week up there. I didn't have a choice. Everyone has a choice. You chose to fight, to survive. That matters here. On day 5, they draw blood through the door slot. A man in a surgical mask and gloves uses a needle and vial, professional and efficient. Just a precaution, he says. We're testing for signs of infection, antibodies, viral markers, whatever this thing is. And if I test positive? He doesn't answer, just takes the blood and leaves. I try not to think about what happens if the test is bad. I feel fine, better than fine, actually, now that I'm eating and warm and rested. But the virus, whatever causes the infection, might have an incubation period, might be dormant. I could be carrying it without knowing. The waiting is agony. On day 7, Carol brings my breakfast and lingers at the door slot. Your blood work came back, she says. My heart stops. And? Clean. No viral markers, no antibodies. You're not infected and you've never been exposed. The relief is so intense I have to sit down. So I can leave, join the community? Not yet. We still have to complete the 2-week observation period. But yeah, after that you're clear. 1 more week. I can handle 1 more week. The 2nd week drags. I'm feeling better, stronger, and the concrete cell feels increasingly claustrophobic. I do push-ups and sit-ups to pass the time. I pace the small space. I look out the barred window at the compound beyond. I can see people going about their daily routines. Children playing in a fenced yard. Adults working on construction projects, tending gardens, carrying supplies. They've built something here, a real community, a chance at survival. I want to be part of it so badly it hurts. On day 13, something changes. The meals stop coming on schedule. Carol doesn't show up for the morning delivery. Instead, hours later, a man I don't recognize brings the food, throws it through the slot without a word, and walks away quickly. I ring the bell. No one comes. I ring it again and again. Finally, after an hour, Carol appears, but she stays back from the door, her face pale and worried. What's happening? I ask. There's been an incident, she says quietly. One of the newcomers. Someone who came in last week. He turned, killed 2 people before we put him down. My blood goes cold. But I thought you tested everyone. I thought the quarantine... We do? We did. He tested clean, showed no symptoms. Then on day 12 he just changed, like a switch flipped. Was he bitten? Scratched? No, that's the thing. He swore he was never exposed. Just like you. The implication hangs in the air between us. Just like me. I'm not infected, I say firmly. I feel fine. I tested clean. He tested clean too, until he didn't. She walks away before I can respond. The next day, no one brings food. I ring the bell repeatedly. No one comes. Through the window, I can see people gathered near the community centre. A meeting of some kind, arguing. Some of them are pointing toward the quarantine building. Toward me. I have a very bad feeling about this. That night, Redbeard finally comes to the door. He looks exhausted and grim. There's been a vote, he says without preamble, about what to do with quarantine cases. After what happened with Marcus, that was the man who turned. People are scared. They don't want to take chances. What kind of vote? Some people want to extend the quarantine period, maybe a month, maybe longer. Some people want to... He trails off. Want to what? Want to exile anyone who can't be absolutely verified as clean. Send them back out beyond the walls. You'd send me back out there to die? I didn't vote for it. A lot of us didn't, but the council is considering it. I survived a month in a bell tower. I tested clean. What more do you want from me? I know, but people are scared, David. Fear makes them do things they wouldn't normally do. He walks away, leaving me alone in the dark cell with my thoughts spiraling. This can't be happening. After everything, they're going to throw me out, send me back to die because they're afraid. I have to escape. I have to get out of here before they make their decision. I examine the door. Heavy steel. No way I'm breaking through it. The window is barred, the bars set in concrete. No tools, no weapons, nothing. But I remember the bell tower. I remember cutting through the rope with tiny scissors. I remember patience and determination and refusing to give up. The chemical toilet. It's made of plastic. If I can break off a piece, sharp enough to use as a tool, I work through the night, quietly, carefully, breaking off a section of the toilet's edge. It takes hours, but eventually I have a jagged plastic shard about 6 inches long. Not much of a weapon, but it's something. The next morning, Carol brings breakfast. She looks tired and scared. They made their decision, she says through the slot. I'm sorry, David. The council voted to exile unverified quarantine cases. You have until sunset to gather your things. Then you're out. This is murder. I know, I'm sorry, I voted against it. But I was outvoted. She slides the tray through and starts to walk away. Carol, wait. She stops. Thank you, I say, for trying, for being kind. I won't forget it. She nods and leaves quickly, before I can see if she's crying. I eat the food, all of it. I'll need the energy. Then I hide the plastic shard in my sleeve and wait. Sunset comes too fast. Redbeard and 2 other men open the door. They're armed, but they don't point the weapons at me. Small mercy. I'm sorry, Redbeard says, and he sounds like he means it. You can take whatever supplies you can carry. Food for 3 days, water, a coat. That's all we can spare. They lead me to a storage building where they give me a backpack filled with canned goods, water bottles, a heavy winter coat, a flashlight with batteries, matches. More than I had in the bell tower. Not enough to survive long term. The gates open. Beyond them is wilderness, darkness, infected wandering somewhere in the shadows. North is no good, Redbeard says quietly as I pass. Too cold and too many of them. South is burned out. Try west. There's rumours of another settlement maybe 50 miles that way. Can't verify it, but it's your best shot. Why are you helping me? Because this is wrong, and I know it. But I have a daughter in there, and I can't risk her. I'm sorry. I step through the gates. They close behind me with a clang. I'm alone again. I walk west through the dark using the flashlight sparingly, moving as quietly as I can. The forest is full of sounds, wind, animals, the distant moans of infected. Every shadow could be death. But I'm not scared. Not like I was in the bell tower. I survived that. I can survive this. I survived a month alone in a stone tower eating pigeons and licking dew from bells. I survived the cold and the hunger and the crushing isolation. I survived Father Marcus scratching at my door every night. I survived. I will survive this too. I walked through the night, through the forest, heading west toward a settlement that might not even exist. The moon rises and lights my way. The stars are brilliant overhead, the same stars I watch from the bell tower, the same constellations my father taught me as a child. I am still alive, and as long as I'm alive, I have hope. The forest thins as dawn approaches. I find myself on a ridge overlooking a valley. Below, a river winds through dead fields. Beyond that, smoke rising from what might be chimneys. Signs of life, or signs of fire. Hard to tell from this distance. I'll find out soon enough. I start down the ridge, toward the smoke, toward the unknown. My body is tired but functional. My mind is clear. I have food and water and the will to keep going. The bell tower taught me something important. Humans can endure almost anything if we have to. We adapt, we survive. We find ways to keep living even when living seems impossible. I'm not the same person who ran into that church a month ago. That person was soft, unprepared, terrified. I'm harder now, more capable. I know what I can endure. The infected aren't the end of humanity. They're just another obstacle to overcome, another problem to solve. We'll figure it out eventually. We'll find a cure or a vaccine or a way to kill them all. We'll rebuild, or we won't. Maybe this is the end. Maybe humanity's time is over. But I'm not dead yet. I reach the valley floor as the sun breaks over the eastern hills. The smoke is definitely from chimneys. I can see buildings now, a small cluster of houses surrounded by a makeshift wall. More survivors. I approach carefully, hands visible, making no sudden movements. A figure appears on the wall, rifle raised. "That's far enough," a woman's voice. "State your business." "I'm alone," I call back. "Not infected, just looking for help." "You're the third person this week to say that. Last one turned out to be lying." "I'm not lying. I escaped from a quarantine facility. I'm clean. I've been tested." "Where's the facility?" 40 miles east, walled compound. They exile people who can't be verified. A pause, then, "We heard about that place. Heard they're paranoid. Shoot first and ask questions later." "They didn't shoot me, just kicked me out." Another pause, then the gate opens. The woman steps out, rifle still raised, but not aimed at me. She's maybe 50, grey hair pulled back, face weathered by sun and hardship. "You look like hell," she observes. "I spent a month trapped in a bell tower." She studies me for a long moment. Then, incredibly, she smiles. "Well, shit, that's a new one. Come on in. You can tell me about it over breakfast." I follow her through the gate. Inside the walls are maybe 30 people, men, women, children. They eye me suspiciously, but no one points weapons. "We don't have much," the woman says, "but we help each other. We don't turn people away just because we're scared. Fear is what got us into this mess." She leads me to a common building where people are gathering for a meal. Simple food, oatmeal, dried fruit, weak coffee, but it's warm and everyone is sharing. "I'm Sarah," the woman says. "Welcome to New Hope. Not original, I know, but it fits." "David," I reply. "David Chen." "Well, David Chen, you survived a month in a bell tower. That's impressive. We could use someone tough like that." "I don't feel tough." "You're still alive." "That's tough enough." I sit down with a bowl of oatmeal and let myself relax for the first time in weeks. These people might turn on me. The settlement might fall. The infected might breach the walls tomorrow. But right now, in this moment, I'm warm and fed and surrounded by other humans who haven't given up. I survived the bell tower. I'll survive whatever comes next. One day at a time. The weeks that follow blur together in a way that's different from the bell tower. There, time moved like cold honey, slow and thick and suffocating. Here it moves like water, flowing around tasks and routines and small moments of normalcy. I earned my place in New Hope quickly. Sarah was right. Survival skills matter here more than whatever you did before. My month in the tower taught me patience, how to stretch resources, how to endure discomfort without complaint. These are valuable traits in a community hanging on by threads. They put me on watch duty first. 4-hour shifts on the wall, scanning for infected, alert for any breach. It's exhausting, but I'm good at it. My eyes are trained now to spot movement in shadows, to distinguish between threat and wind-blown debris. The bell tower made me an expert at watching and waiting. At night, I sleep in a corner of the common house, rolled in a donated blanket on a foam pad. It's not private, but I don't mind. After sleeping alone in that tower, surrounded by cold stone and silence broken only by scratching, being near other people is comforting. Their breathing, their movements, the small sounds of life, these things help me sleep better than any fancy bed would. The nightmares still come. I dream I'm back in the tower, that the rescue never happened, that I'm still up there starving and going mad. I wake gasping, disoriented, and have to reorient myself. Not stone walls, not bells overhead, just the common house, just New Hope, just safe, for now. Sarah notices. She notices everything. Give it time, she tells me one morning after a bad night. The mind takes longer to heal than the body. How long did it take you? She considers this. I'll let you know when it happens. That's when I learn her story. She was a nurse before everything fell apart. She was working in the county hospital when the infected started arriving. She saw patients turn on the tables, doctors get torn apart, the careful order of medicine collapse into screaming chaos. She escaped with 3 other staff members. Now she's the only one left. Everyone here has stories like this. Travis, the mechanic who watched his family get infected one by one. Emily, the teacher who barricaded her classroom with students for 6 days before rescue came. Marcus, different Marcus, living Marcus, who survived by hiding in a septic tank for 3 days. My bell tower story is horrible, but it's not unique. We all have our towers, our personal hells that we escaped or endured or simply survived through luck and stubbornness. Knowing this helps. I'm not alone in my trauma. We're all traumatized, all damaged, all carrying our dead. But we're still here, still fighting. New Hope runs on routine and cooperation. There are 43 people here now. I'm the newest addition. We've organized into work groups. Scavengers who venture out to abandoned towns for supplies. Gardeners who tend the greenhouse and the small plots we've cleared. Guards who watch the walls. Cooks who stretch our meagre food into actual meals. Maintainers who keep the generator running. The walls intact. The buildings from falling apart. I rotate through all of it, learning, adapting. The scavenging runs terrify me at first. Going back out there into infected territory feels like volunteering for death. But the runs are careful, planned, professional. We move in groups, armed and alert. We go to houses and stores that have been scouted as relatively safe. We take what we need and leave quickly. On my 3rd run, we encounter infected. 5 of them shambling through a strip mall parking lot. The team leader, a young guy named Jordan, signals us to freeze. We stand absolutely still, barely breathing. The infected wander past, maybe 30 feet away, close enough to see their ruined faces, their torn clothes, the dark stains that cover them, close enough to smell them, a sickly sweet rot that makes my stomach turn. They don't see us. After a few minutes they're gone, disappeared around a corner. We complete the run and return with 3 carts of supplies, canned food, batteries, medical supplies, winter clothes. A good haul. You did well, Jordan tells me afterward. No panic, stayed quiet. That's how you survive out there. I think about the bell tower, about staying quiet while Father Marcus scratched below, about freezing in place while infected milled around the church. I've had practice. Winter deepens. Snow falls regularly now, blanketing the valley. We burn through our wood stores, keeping warm. The scavenging runs become more dangerous. Infected are easier to spot in snow, but the cold makes us slower, clumsier. We lose someone in early December. Rita, one of the original members. She slipped on ice during a run, broke her ankle. The noise drew infected. She told her partner to run, to save himself. He did. We don't judge him for it. Survival requires hard choices. We bury Rita outside the walls, marked with a simple cross. Sarah says words. We stand in the cold and remember her. Then we go back to work because work is how we survive. Christmas comes. We mark it with a shared meal, bigger portions than usual. Some of Emily's hoarded coffee brought out for everyone. Someone has a guitar and knows carols. We sing together in the common house, our voices cracking and imperfect but sincere. I think about last Christmas. My mum's house in Arizona, my sister's kids opening presents. Too much food and family arguments about politics, and my niece showing off her science fair project. All the small annoyances that seemed so important then. I'd give anything to have those annoyances back, but this is my reality now. This small community of survivors singing off-key carols in a drafty building while the world outside is dead. It's not enough, but it's something. We make it something. New Year's comes and goes unremarked. What does a new year mean when the old world has ended? We mark time by seasons now, by survival milestones. Another week without breaches. Another month of food stored. Another dawn where we all wake up alive. January brings a cold snap. Temperatures plunge below zero. The generator struggles. We huddle around the wood stoves and ration movement to conserve energy. The infected slow down in extreme cold. They don't freeze, but they move sluggishly, like insects in winter. This gives us an advantage. Scavenging runs become slightly less suicidal. I'm on a run in mid-January when we find the others. We're searching a rural area, farmhouses spread far apart. Good targets because they're isolated, less likely to be infested. We're in the third house when Jordan signals for quiet. He's found something. Not infected. People. A family. Mother, father, 2 kids, hiding in the basement. They've been there since October, living on stored food and well water. They're gaunt and terrified, but alive. There's a settlement, Jordan tells them quietly. New Hope, 40 miles south. We can take you there. The father, Greg, is suspicious. Why? What do you want? More people means more chances to survive. We help each other. They come with us. The kids, 7 and 9, boy and girl, are so thin it hurts to look at them. The mother, Lisa, cries when she sees our trucks, our supplies, realizes this is real. Back at New Hope, Sarah examines them. Underweight, dehydrated, showing signs of vitamin deficiency, but no infections, no bites. They're put in quarantine. We learn from the other settlements' mistakes. 2 weeks of observation, but treated with dignity, given good food and warmth. They integrate after quarantine. Greg used to be a contractor. His skills with construction are immediately valuable. Lisa was an accountant, less obviously useful, but she has an organized mind. She takes over inventory management, and suddenly we know exactly what we have, what we need, what we can trade. The kids are just kids, which somehow makes everything feel more hopeful. We're not just surviving. We're building something that might outlast us. February brings a thaw. Temperatures rise into the 40s. The snow melts into brown slush, and the infected become active again. They appear one morning, a large group moving through the valley. Sarah spots them from the north wall. At least 50, maybe more, shambling in a loose cluster toward New Hope. We've drilled for this. Everyone to positions, armed guards on the walls, everyone else inside the strongest buildings. Children in the basement of the common house with 2 adults protecting them. Weapons distributed, guns for those who know how to use them, makeshift clubs, and spears for the rest. The horde reaches our walls around noon. They don't attack so much as accumulate, pressing against the fence, moaning, reaching. The weight of them pushes against the chain link. Posts groan, wire stretches. We pick off the ones at the front, careful headshots from the walls. Every bullet counts. We don't have unlimited ammunition, but we need to reduce the pressure on the fence. The standoff lasts hours. We shoot until our rifles are too hot to hold. We rotate shooters to prevent fatigue mistakes. The bodies pile up at the fence line, but more keep coming, climbing over their fallen, pressing forward. The north fence gives way around 4 p.m. A section collapses under the weight. Infected pour through the gap. We fall back to the second line, the buildings themselves. The common house is stone, strong. The maintenance shed is concrete. These are our fortresses. We retreat inside, bar the doors, prepare for siege. The infected swarm the compound. I watch from a window as they mill around, searching. Some attack the doors, throwing themselves against wood and metal. Others just wander, aimless, responding to sounds and movement. One finds the garden shed. Not fortified. We never expected them to get this far. A survivor named Dale was inside, hiding because he panicked and ran the wrong direction. We hear him screaming. The sound cuts off abruptly. Sarah makes the call. We can't save him. Hold positions. It's the right call, but it feels wrong. Feels like cowardice. But running out there would just mean more deaths. We wait through the night. The infected batter at our doors, but the buildings hold. We're sealed in with our fear and our grief and our determination not to die here. Dawn comes. The infected haven't left. They're still out there, dozens of them waiting for us to emerge. We can't stay in here forever, Travis says. We'll run out of water by tomorrow, Sarah thinks. We need to thin them out, make a break for the walls, repair the fence, drive them out. That's suicide. So is staying here. We form a plan. It's desperate and dangerous, but it's something. A strike team will exit the east door, draw the infected away from the buildings. Once they're following the bait, the rest of us make a run for the fence breach, set up a defensive position, and pick them off as they come. I volunteer for the strike team. So do Jordan and Travis and 4 others. We're the fastest, the most expendable. If this goes wrong, we die, but everyone else has a chance. We exit at noon, making noise, drawing attention. The infected swarm toward us. We run, leading them on a chase around the compound, staying just ahead of their grasping hands. My heart pounds. My legs burn. I slip in the mud and nearly go down. Jordan grabs my arm, hauls me up, keeps me moving. Behind us, I hear gunfire. The others are at the fence, shooting. The infected following us start to turn, confused by the new noise. Keep them focused, Jordan shouts. We bang on walls, yell, keep them chasing us. It works. Most of them stay on us. We loop back toward the gate. It's standing open, part of the plan. We run through, into the forest beyond. The infected follow. We lead them into the trees, deeper, farther from New Hope. When we've drawn them far enough, we split up. Each person goes a different direction. The infected, confused, split up too. They can't chase all of us. I run west, crashing through undergrowth, not caring about stealth, just distance. I run until my lungs are burning, until I can't hear moaning behind me anymore. Then I collapse against a tree and fight to breathe. Slowly, carefully, I work my way back toward New Hope. I move quietly now, alert for infected. It takes 2 hours of careful travel to make it back. The compound is damaged but secure. The fence is repaired, roughly but functionally. Bodies are being dragged outside and burned. People are taking stock of damage. Dale is dead. We knew that. But we also lost Maria. She was on the fence-to-fence team and got pulled down when the infected overwhelmed their position. 2 dead, 7 injured, but 39 alive. Jordan made it back. So did Travis and the others. All 7 of us survived. We spend the evening reinforcing the walls, doubling the fence, setting up better early warning systems. We work until we can't see anymore, then work by firelight. No one wants to sleep. Sleep means letting our guard down. Eventually, Sarah orders everyone to rest. We survived. That's what matters. Get some sleep. Tomorrow we rebuild. I lie in my corner of the common house and stare at the ceiling. My body aches. My hands are torn and blistered from fence work. But I'm alive. The bell tower prepared me for this. Taught me endurance. Taught me that survival is just a series of moments, one after another, each requiring the decision to keep going. I can keep going. March arrives with rain. Constant, cold, miserable rain that turns everything to mud. The infected are still out there, but they're dispersed now, not gathered in hordes. Easier to avoid. We lose a scavenger. Jackson, taken when he got separated from his team in a town 20 miles east. We add his name to the memorial outside the walls. 12 names now, 12 people we couldn't save, but 47 people we did. Greg's family brought our numbers to 47. That's up from 43 when I arrived. We're growing. Slowly, carefully, but growing. April brings the first real warmth. The gardens explode with growth. Sarah and Emily planned well. Started seedlings in the greenhouse over winter. We have tomatoes, beans, squash. Not enough to live on, but enough to supplement our scavenged goods. Fresh vegetables taste like a miracle after months of canned food. We find more survivors. A group of 5 in late April, hiding in a warehouse. 3 more in early May, living in a fortified pharmacy. Each group brings skills, knowledge, resources. Our population reaches 55. With numbers come challenges, more mouths to feed, more opinions on how things should run. Tensions develop. Some people think we should be more aggressive, clear out infected, reclaim the towns. Others think we should stay hidden, avoid risk. Arguments break out. Sarah mediates, but she can't solve everything. In June, we have our first serious internal conflict. A man named Derek wants to lead a raid on the settlement that exiled me, the one that cast me out months ago. They have supplies, he argues. They have weapons. We need those things. They're survivors like us, I counter. We don't attack other survivors. They threw you out to die. You defending them? I'm saying we don't become raiders. That's not who we are. The argument escalates. Derek has supporters. So do I. The community splits into factions. Sarah finally shuts it down. We vote. That's how we handle this. Democracy. The vote is close, but the anti-raid position wins. Derek is furious. He leaves New Hope that night, taking 3 people with him. We don't try to stop them. Freedom includes the freedom to leave. I hope they survive out there. I really do. But I know the odds. Summer brings heat. Oppressive, humid heat that makes the smell of the infected even worse. We survive by staying in the shade, working early mornings and late evenings, conserving our energy. The gardens produce bounty. We have more food than we've had in months. We preserve what we can, drying and canning and storing for winter. In July, we get a radio transmission. Someone else is out there, broadcasting on shortwave. A settlement in Pennsylvania. They're organizing, trying to connect survivor groups. They talk about rebuilding, about resistance, about taking back the world from the infected. It sounds too good to be true, but it gives people hope. That's valuable, even if it's a lie. August passes in a blur of hard work. We're building more permanent structures now, real housing instead of the makeshift shelters we started with. Travis and Greg lead the construction. We have carpenters and electricians and people who know how to make things work. New Hope is becoming a real town. In September, I've been here a year, a full year since I walked through the gates exhausted and desperate. Sarah throws me a small celebration, just cake made from our precious flower stores and some kind words, but it means something. I've survived a year since the bell tower. That's longer than I thought I'd make it. You've come a long way, Sarah tells me that night. When you first got here, you had the look, the haunted look, like you were still in that tower even though you'd escaped. Do I still have it? She considers. Less. You're here now, present. That's good. She's right. The nightmares are less frequent. I don't wake up gasping and disoriented as often. The bell tower is becoming memory instead of ongoing trauma. Still painful, still there, but not consuming me. October brings the first frost. Winter is coming again. But this time, we're prepared. We have food stored. We have proper shelter. We have systems in place. And we have each other. That's the thing I've learned in my year at New Hope. Survival isn't just about supplies or walls or weapons. It's about community, about people who support each other, who share burdens, who refuse to give up even when giving up would be easier. The infected are still out there, thousands of them, maybe millions. The world hasn't recovered. Maybe it never will. Maybe this is permanent. Humanity reduced to scattered settlements, always one breach away from extinction. But we're still here, still fighting, still planting gardens and having babies and teaching children and building things that will outlast us. That's hope, real hope. Not the naive kind that thinks everything will go back to how it was. The hard kind that accepts how bad things are but keeps going anyway. I think about the bell tower sometimes, about the person I was up there, scared, alone, convinced I was going to die. That person survived through pure stubbornness. Refused to give up even when giving up made sense. I'm grateful to that person. He got me through. He got me here. But I'm not him anymore. I'm someone different now. Harder, but also more connected. More capable, but also more aware of my limitations. More broken, but also more whole. The bell tower was my crucible. It burned away everything soft and left only what could endure. What remains is enough. November comes, the anniversary of the day everything ended. We mark it with a ceremony, reading the names of everyone we've lost, sharing memories, acknowledging the weight of what we carry. It's somber but necessary. We can't move forward if we pretend the past didn't happen. That night I stand watch on the north wall. The valley spreads out below, dark and mostly quiet. A few infected wander in the distance, but they don't approach. The stars are brilliant overhead, the same stars I watched from the bell tower, but now they feel different. Less like witnesses to my isolation, and more like just stars, beautiful and distant and eternal. I'm alive. Against every odd, through every horror, somehow still alive. And tomorrow I'll wake up and stand watch again and tend the gardens and help repair the generator and do all the small things that keep us surviving. One day at a time. That's all any of us can do. One day at a time, building something better in the ruins of what was lost. The bell tower taught me endurance. New Hope is teaching me how to live again. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.